So I remember the first time a lot of my Hindi friends watched a bunch of Malayalam films for the first time. Like they didn't even know a life like that exists. Like, oh, people live like this, they wear clothes like this is the food they eat.
I mean, I'm dark skinned. I've been bullied growing up. I never had the confidence to, send in a photo for an audition. I still have a lot of insecurity about my appearance.
See, Spirit's not a company which is trying to make the biggest films that year, go to the biggest hit or the biggest box. So that's not the direction we've chosen. But if you want to be in that direction, unless you're go big, it's go home.
And another film that Spirit Media is involved in is Kantha.
Yes.
Which you're co-producing with Dulquer's production company.
Yeah.
You're putting your muscle into a project that's actually frontlined by another actor.
Baahubali was the movie that gave me the courage to come to India.
Really?
And yes, it was. And I remember saying this to Suresh sir. I said, Baahubali showed that a Telugu film can go to the global box office.
Praveena, Rana, welcome to the Hollywood Reporter India. Firstly, I need one of you to explain what is happening here and why we're sitting in this lovely cart. This is called cart in UP where I come from.
Okay, this is called Pandirmancham, where we are from. Well, where you are is you're in the Ramanaidu Studios, Hyderabad, in Filmnagar, where the birth of Telugu cinema happened in this Filmnagar streets between Anupama Studios, ours and a few others. And why in this setup is from the time the studio has been built, it's been finding filmmakers and storytellers that can tell stories of the heartland and bring it out. And I think we've come to such a long transition where we're able to find Indian origin people working in different parts of the world with completely different exposures and sensibilities, being able to tell local stories. And Praveena is one such filmmaker who I've met through her first film, Kancharapalem, that she'd produced. And I was amazed at the culture that they hold to, even though they're not in India. And somewhere it was like a knock on the door for us. It's like, we don't tell these stories no more. We don't see these stories anymore. And I think from there a journey started. For me, somewhere as a producer, distributor, where he said, okay, this type of cinema has a certain audience. It's very different from what the mainstream world does. But if you consistently make it a habit, find the right times to release it, make sure you're not part of this big clutter. And there's always an audience, and this cinema ages very beautifully. I mean, it's what, 7 years from Kancharapalem, 5, 6 years, 7 years? So 7 years later, you still watch it now, it's still such a beautiful film.
And it just won ironically, it just won the Telangana State Award now. So it's amazing.
So it's beautiful, right? I mean, they age beautifully, and I think this cinema is very important. And like we were saying before we started in this interview, in this new age of only big spectacle, big things blowing up, I think heart has to be told, and here you go. This is a film with heart.
So we will get to the spectacle and things blowing up, but to be specific, we're sitting in this sort of village setup because, okay, now I'm going to really mangle this. Kothapallilo
Okappudu. Yeah. So Kothapalli is a town. Okappudu is once upon a time.
Correct. So it's once upon a time in Kothapalli, which is a village somewhere.
Yes.
Correct? Exactly. It's a story in the village. And what a story it is. There is humor, there is romance, there's a nasty moneylender, there's a rice mill owner, there is a sort of a love triangle. Where did the story come from, Praveena? And at what point did you plug in?
I was right at the end, almost a full finished product, which is very rarely what we see cinema with. But I think, just before she was in her sound post is when I saw it. And I liked it the first. I mean, it was a bunch of, like you said, all of these characters are people you know. And you just feel like you want to know a little more of their lives. And this, I think, was the perfect story. Right? And it takes such a simple concept like belief. And today everyone fights about belief or faith. It's such a big discussion, right? It's so loud sometimes. Here was such a beautiful story that told it in the simplest form possible and rooted amongst characters that are relatable to anybody. Like all of them, like the first time I saw the film, I remember the first screening that we got out of. Everyone was discussing not if the film was good or bad, but about their beliefs.
Yeah.
In my village, this happened. In my town, this happened. You know, in this studio, in that street, this is what happens at 2 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
Now, I think everybody has these beliefs, and I felt like Praveena just found a beautiful way and a beautiful bunch of characters, and she told it. So I almost saw the full product. So all the early stories with her.
So where did it come from?
Ironically, it just came out of nowhere. There was a story that was it was a story narrated to me. A general story was narrated to me by a friend who introduced me to somebody. There was a lot more to it at that point, but I could see kind of what we call, like, in my opinion, commercial elements, right? One of which is the setup, which is the Gaddivamu. So the word Gaddivamu, it literally translates to, in English, to a haystack. But I was trying to think of the word that gives it the same titillating, feeling, which really is a rendezvous. So it's the site of a rendezvous. So anytime you said Gaddivamu to anybody locally,
It suggests something.
There's like a little tingle. So that was the first thing I kind of got out of the narration. The second one is a recording dance. So recording dance also is one of those words and terms that has like this little titillating aspect to it, because it's kind of like not necessarily a striptease, but it's a little bit kind of has like, it can go that way. So these are like those commercial elements that were kind of already very authentic to a village life, or even just generally a Telugu life with the Telugu words. And they were interspersed in this big story kind of pontification about God and belief and origin and stuff like that. So I was interested in these elements, and I kind of, wanted to hire the writer to kind of get this aspect. So that ultimately didn't work out. However, I collaborated with another friend of mine and our first AD, and we were able to kind of take off all of that and come up with a screenplay where we focused on Ramakrishna. And then through that and through a series of his events, kind of get to the ultimate point of the film about belief, without preaching, without kind of, just in an entertaining fashion. And it's exactly what you said. The movie starts off, it was very difficult because the movie starts off in a very lighthearted tone. And I kind of cut away all of that stuff. And with my friend Karen, we kind of cut away all of the extraneous stuff. So you just go from there, it becomes very unpredictable. And then at some point, it kind of just twists to a little bit of a dramatic element. And then the whole point is that you laugh all the way, and then you leave with like a, and think about it. And then I'm hoping, like it happened with Kancharapalem, that people then come back and then go and see all of the Easter eggs that were put in to get to that end. So that was how it came.
And how did you decide? Like with Kancharapalem, you were both producers. You also did a key role. I love that woman you played. How did you decide this was the one you want to direct?
I think it happened by chance. But there was a very unique vision that I had that was not coming forth. And ultimately, I had to take a decision that I was the best person to tell this story, because there was a story, there was a vision that I had of the story, and it was really hard to get
somebody else to understand.
The buy-in, like the technicians and the crew to buy in. It had to be my vision, because if it was told in any other fashion, it would be very flat. It wouldn't be, I don't feel like it would have made the impact that it is making right now. Similarly with Kancharapalem as well. I think it took kind of like, I don't want to say foreign eyes, but outside of this environment to see what was actually beautiful in it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what amazes me about like Praveena and a few others who are, like, she's a doctor, like full time, like now.
I know,
like,
a cardiologist.
like right now.
Yes.
And
which is multitasking, Rana, at a god level.
At a different level, right? I'm saying, now she made a film, and then she made 2 films. You produced 2, right? This and Ugra Roopasya, 2 films you made after Kancharapalem.
Ugra Roopasya, yeah.
And then you go back to being a doctor and in American life, and you find another story, and then you come back and make it. Like, it's like, so like the medium of being a filmmaker. I think allows you to do this, and I think this is an example for many more, right? I mean, you don't have to really be in the movies, like she just said. Like if you have a set of eyes that are outside of this place, we'll view it very differently. Like to me, so many independent filmmakers have told me more about the cinema than I've known it from being inside.
Yeah.
I guess it's a sense of perspective, and I think it's important for like local stories to be told in a slightly global manner. And now today, I think the world is also open for Indian storytelling. There is whether it's a festival circuit, whether it's a global audience through distribution itself, or the OTT, doesn't matter. But there's so much love for wanting to know more.
Yeah.
They just need it packaged in a slightly global palette so they can understand it easy. And I think it's filmmakers like her who've been around in the world, understand a different language, are able to tell this story.
Yeah. But Praveena, you're not the only debutante. There's 3 new actors here.
Yes.
Right? And they're all really solid. I think, Manoj Chandra's Ramakrishna is just fabulous. But my heart was with Usha Bonella as Andam,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think Andam should have her own spin-off.
Fully she deserves
Afterwards, what happens to
Yeah,
Andam?
yeah.
Correct? How did you find him?
Oh, so Ramakrishna literally walked in off the street, and I met him at a restaurant in the West Village because he was looking for an actor.
See, there you go. All of them came and met Kothapallilo Okappudu.
He just, what? He wants to be an actor. He wanted to be an actor.
No, he wanted me to act in a friend's feature film. So his friend made a short film called Men in Blue, which won the Best Student Film at the Directors Guild of America. He studied in America. It actually features Anthony Thasin from Deepan. And that friend wanted to make a feature film that needed an American, a Telugu person with an American accent. Hence me, the token American with the Telugu, or the Telugu with the American accent. So he asked for an appointment for me. And then when I met him, he was just like very different looking. I don't know how to explain it. He looked like Punjabi and a bodybuilder. That's really what he looked like. And that's what I thought he was. And at some point in the conversation, he talks about, he starts talking in Telugu. And his Telugu has a very unique cadence to it because he was living in Houston at that time. So Houston in the South has like a drawl. It's very lazy. It's very slow. And he was speaking Telugu with that accent. And
this is truly global.
Yeah, see? There you go. Look how they came and made a film like this.
yeah, and I really felt, I don't know why, but my intuition told me like that was Ramakrishna. And I actually thought that he was kind of a little bit of a, what's the Telugu word? I mean, the English word for it. I thought he was a bit of a rascal, which is.
What a charming rascal.
Yeah, he's a rascal, but he has a good heart.
Yes.
Charming rogue.
Yeah.
That's usually the character. Yeah. So he was a charming rogue. So Manoj actually has a Ramakrishna. He will always be Ramakrishna to me. So he has this like very rough appearance, but he has a smile. It's kind of like what Venkatesh Garu has. He has like this smile that when he smiles, other people smile, regardless of what he's doing. And you know for a fact that he's manipulating you. And that was Ramakrishna to me. And there he was. And so when I saw him, I was like, okay, that's him. Needed a lot of work. He put in the effort. No director could do anything if the actor doesn't have the buy-in and doesn't do their part of the homework. So he did it. Usha is an interesting story. I had a casting call, she had replied to the casting call. My ADs actually had discarded her reply, but she messaged me. I thought she was really brave. I mean, I'm dark-skinned. I've been bullied growing up. I never had the confidence to, set in a photo for an audition. I still have a lot of insecurity about my appearance. This all stuff is new to me. So for her, I could only imagine what she had faced. I personally think that she's very gorgeous because she's so photogenic. At the same time that this was happening, a Vogue cover with Naomi Campbell featuring Sabyasachi came out. And that was my arc for her. And so just because she was brave enough to message me, I called her personally in for an audition. She was really, really green, really, really green. I kept giving her homework. She kept coming back. I kept giving her homework. I think I ultimately did like 3 or 4 auditions with her. And to a point where then I started having Ramakrishna and Annam work together, because those 3 scenes are key. And they put the effort and they paid off. So yeah. Savitri was the hardest for me to find. And yeah, so.
But that's so great, just to have new people. Rana, you talked, when you posted about the film, right, on your social, you said that this is a throwback to the films we've all grown up with, right? Films we cheered for, films we cried with, films we've always loved. So for us non-Telugu speakers, can you give us a little context of what are these movies? What makes them so special?
See, there was a large part, like today there's a commercial cinema there's a certain dimension and a direction to it, right? Earlier, life was learned through cinema in some form. And like all life, whether the humor we have today, the jokes that we make, the way family relations are, all of them cinema taught in some manner. Like today, you see very little of that. You see little of that in some movies. But largely the cinema is not that, not about telling human lives or human stories. And I think like Praveena, she uses a lot of reference of old films and old music through the layering of the story. And it's also characters that stayed with us for a long period of time. They'll, like all of Vishwanath Garu's movies, is probably say I grew up in Madras and then Hyderabad. And everything that I know about a village or village life or music or literature just came from that cinema. And after a long time, I think Kothapallilo had that refreshing feeling of, okay, if I walked around in my village, this is the people you would meet. And this would almost be the problem that is going on also. Like they will be a money lender, he will lend money to a lot of people, they will all hate him. I mean, that's every like Rachabanda story. Like you hang out, like all villages have this Rachabanda where you sit in the middle of the street and just start gossiping.
Yeah.
This would be the village gossip.
Yeah.
So I thought, now that was for today's audience, it's like a nice way to go into what other life is. So I remember the first time a lot of my Hindi friends watched a bunch of Malayalam films for the first time. Like they didn't even know a life like that exists. Like, oh, people live like this, they wear clothes like this is the food they eat. This is their thought process. Like there's a certain simplicity in thought process. I think that's something that will cut across to everyone. And whether you live there or you live here, the thought process doesn't change so much in terms of who you are. I think that's what it is for everybody around in this film.
Yeah. You know, at one point in the film, a character says that God is not about truth or lies. It's about belief.
Belief, yeah.
And whatever gives you belief is God. So what gives the two of you belief?
See, what gives me belief is that, man, that's my granddad, that's there. It's him who built this place and he gives me all the belief that, like, he was somebody who came from a small village and decided to make movies and just made 100 of them by himself. So I think, like, that's
crazy.
So to me, that's where all direction comes from. And I think if you have to go ahead and do something, you just get up and do it.
Yeah.
And there was a time that I felt for a cinema that is alternative, storytelling that is alternative, which is what people need to receive, because I think a lot of a generation of mine has been cultured through watching cinema like this, and that cinema shouldn't lose because of economics. So that's been the direction, and I think Kothapallilo falls pretty much within that realm.
Praveena, what gives you belief?
Art. I love art. I think art is kala it sounds silly, but it's if art comes from a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, a lot of emotion, a lot of depth of feeling, and then it has the power. It becomes art, whether it's cinema or dance or painting or a song. It has the ability to move another person, whatever that is. It's the ability to transmit. Or why do we still watch? I can't believe you have Van Gogh in your office. Like, why is a Van Gogh painting still like stops you in your tracks? Like when you go to the museum, it's just universal. It's forever. I think like your Twitter handle also says films are forever. So I believe in art, and I believe like when you do art for the right reasons, those are subjective, of course. But when you do art for the right reasons, this sounds so. I don't want to say it because I want to keep the movie neutral. So I don't want my opinions to be there, but I believe in art. And that also, I learned from Telugu cinema. Like, just being here and living in Madras, if one learned life lessons or about life through cinema, I was living in Queens, away from all of this. And in a way, my parents used Telugu cinema to teach me Telugu values or Indian values or our values. And I know that modern filmmakers say it's not my responsibility, I'm not here to do this or that. That type of dialogue happens in India as well as in the West. But when you create a medium that is seen by so many people, especially young people, children, it's a responsibility that you take whether you want it or not. And I think it's not about censorship. It's about responsibility. And I do feel that is getting lost everywhere, not just here, but everywhere. So a lot of my own personal values were, like Kancharapalem, there's a song which talks about art and what it means. So, yeah.
Rana, I love that you are the patron saint of indie cinema in India.
I really enjoy it.
But tell me, were there any learnings from your experience with distributing All You Imagine Is Light that can be now applied to this one?
Oh, like, this audience is so different, it's unbelievable. Like, I think All We Imagine, because that being the last in some ways, it was a Malayalam film, largely Malayalam and Hindi in some form. It collected the highest in Delhi and Bombay.
Wow.
in some ways, and Karnataka collected more than Kerala did. So I just didn't, like, I guess there's no math to this in some manner. There is an audience everywhere. And we just have to find the audience, and also there is a different means of release because many people need to see the film before. There needs to be a word of mouth. They need to be talking about it. So I think there is, like, at least globally they have this festival circuit. Like, many times I try to meet that with all of these films, but just that when these theatres are free and when the festival happens, don't have any connections. And if I go that route, then I'm falling in the mainstream, like the Diwalis or the big days where there's too much other big cinema happening, right? So I just feel like there's less places where the cinema is spoken about. So I think if those channels are fixed, then we'll be able to find the audience better. So this is like I know in between Bombay, Hyderabad and Bangalore, we know where this audience is now because of the 3-4 films that we've done in those three sectors. Like, in the same city, which theatre runs is also far more important.
Right.
So I think these are type of micro detailing because
it's down to a science.
So yeah, it's actually down to a science because it's a very different audience. This is not first day, first show audience that's going to, okay, wow, we saw the trailer, we'll buy it, be there first day. That's not the energy. You'll see it picking up better on the second weekend. You'll see it better on the third weekend. Like something that's happening with Amar Sir's film right now in Hindi, right? You see it growing slowly and gradually. You know, it's not coming into the theatre. Like, there's no OTT, there's none of that stuff. It happened earlier this year, but much more commercial film, like my uncle's film, Sankranti Kostuna, which is a Sankranti film. Like, didn't do any OTT sale, none of that stuff, released on Sankranti, just kept running. And
it was huge.
Yeah, it was huge. So, I think there is a different audience that needs to be found, catered, and the release mechanism is something that I think we're also developing and figuring out. But what I'm sure now than I was ever before is there is a definite audience for this cinema.
Yeah.
That's something that I've
Rana, I remember like a couple of years ago we were chatting and you said to me that now the mantra seems to be go big or go home, right? But you're saying that's actually not true.
See, it depends. If you're in the mainstream world, Spirit's not a company which is trying to make the biggest film that year, go to the biggest hit or the biggest box office. That's not the direction we've chosen. But if you want to be in that direction, unless you're go big, it's go home. Because things are much more expensive than what they used to be. It's taking much longer to make the bigger film than what it used to take. So the cycle has kind of become very different from what it used to be. But that aside, there is so much variety. So I feel like anything can't be the same for so long. like cinema has been the same for 100 years. I think it will see some kind of change, right? Actually, last week someone was talking to me about the book business. You said when Kindle and other things happened, the books kind of disappeared for some time. And then they came back in a totally different way, right? And I just feel like cinema is finding that route where, okay, now earlier there was only cinema to be entertained. Now there are so many more things. So cinema is finding another way to come back into your life. So I think that's what's going to happen.
You know, it's the 20th year of
Yeah.
Spirit.
Yeah, crazy, no? Crazy, no? Yeah.
Yes, 2005.
Yeah, Belly Full of Dreams is 2005. I forgot that it's the 20th year.
It's the
Wow.
20th year.
Oh, that's
Yes,
crazy.
exactly. Exactly.
For me, trying to be indie in life.
Wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rana, do you feel that you've achieved some of the things?
20 years. I forgot
No,
that.
it's great. I think what an accomplishment, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Do you feel like you've hit some of those, goals that you set for yourself?
Like, I think the first goal that we hit was in 2005, we made Belly Full of Dreams. We didn't know how to release that movie. Though we won 2 national awards, we didn't know how to release the film. I think today we've come much longer where this cinema can release, has a buy-in from OTTs, has a buy-in from the music companies. Like the mainstream world talks to this cinema. I think so that part has been ticked off. Well, my dreams are very big, yeah. So some part is
You
step
have
by
George
step.
Lucas on your wall in your office.
So
the dreams have to be big.
yeah, the indie dream I think is being ticked off well. Yeah, that I think I've ticked off pretty well actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Praveena, this balancing act that you do, which truthfully I've never heard of. I do not know anyone else who's a practicing cardiologist and also a filmmaker. How does this work?
There are 2.
Really?
There were 2.
Okay.
George Miller, who made Mad Max.
That's right.
He
but
wasn't-
then, was he doing both at the same time?
When he was making the first one, yeah. He used to work ER shifts. And then
Amazing.
And that's a great role model to have.
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
that is my role model. And then once he was successful, he quit medicine. The other one, I'm so sorry, I'm going to forget his name, is the Asian actor that was in Hangover, who's since become really, really popular. So he's an internal medicine doctor, and he did that, and then he balanced stand-up comedy while he was practicing medicine, and then he blew up with Hangover, his role in Hangover, and then he became a main actor. So there are 2, but America gives you that opportunity, and yes, but the balancing act is tough. At some point, I have to make a decision. I've said that this movie will make
That decision.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So being in this munchum, this cot, I think kind of makes the decision a little bit, because I'm very grateful to be a doctor for sure. But there's so many others that do it. I just love making films. There's so many stories that I want to tell, and in my way, meaning which I think is a way that others can, which is different.
It has to be, because
yeah.
you have an insight into human nature that regular people cannot, right? You're seeing people at an extreme state.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually exactly right. So I really like characters in conflict, and good or bad, because I do see people at their most vulnerable, and I do see death and suffering a lot, and it gives you a lot. It makes you, and it puts me as a doctor. It has, especially during the pandemic, especially during my fellowship. I used to take care of young kids that had heart defects that eventually become older because of the miracle of modern science. Otherwise, they wouldn't have lived. So it brought a lot of ethical and moral conflicts. I think that's interesting in story form, and I think that's something that I can offer. And yes, I can treat one patient at a time, which is absolutely a gift, a duty, a dharma, right? But to be able to move so many people with a visual medium is something it's so much more powerful. So I think at some point I'll have to make a decision. And I'm definitely leaning towards this.
Rana, in your upcoming films, and another film that Spirit Media is involved in is Kantha,
Yes.
which you're co-producing with
Yes.
Dulquer's
Company,
production
yeah,
company,
yes, yes.
right? And he is frontlining it, right?
Yes, of course.
I find that amazing that you're putting your muscle into a project that's actually frontlined by another actor. Is that because you're very secure as an artist?
I think, see, a lot of people ask me this question. There's this thing about casting. Each story is already decided who the actor is in some manner, and everyone's right for a certain role. And I think if you're trying to be a producer of a film, it's finding the best for that story and leaving it that organic, right? And I also believe that the story actually chooses us. It's not the other way around. And the second I heard it, I didn't see anyone but Dulquer in it. So I was like, if he was not in it, probably we wouldn't have made the film. So like, it's that type. So I think, and yeah, I'm pretty secure as an actor. There's only some things that I like to do on screen. I do it slowly, but I just feel like, see, it's been 20 years. I mean, 20 years from Spirit, but what, 15 years as an actor. I would have done just about 10 or 12 roles, but they all are so memorable, and they just become a part of me. I become a part of them, and I just feel like any role that I pick, let me just keep it to that speciality. And yeah, when I wanted to make, say, Kantha, right, there's a certain indie spirit that is there, and I think Dulquer carries that so beautifully with the kind of cinema that he does, the characters that he plays. He's so secure in terms of just being an actor, doesn't really need to go into a mainstream beat of things to create a successful film. So I think that way he was probably the best guy to collaborate.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell me, with coming back to this film, you have an LA DOP, which I found fascinating, to shoot a movie in an Indian village. What did he bring to the table?
Well, what is the best word? Kind of just like Rana Garu, he brought confidence and validation. He automatically believed in my vision. He was the first person to say, you have a vision, you can direct. It's not direction as well as cardiology are very much male fields. It's very rare for someone to come up to a woman and say, oh yeah, you're talented, why don't you direct, I'm not saying that they're not open. I'm just saying it doesn't come as easy. So Petros was, well, the first thing is, this is my third movie in the village. It's really around the same location. So I had to do something different. Otherwise, it's just like really like, I'm making my own film over again. So that was number one. But the biggest thing that he contributed was the confidence in me, the confidence in my vision, the buy-in, and really bringing to screen what I was already seeing in my eyes. So that was a good part. And the other part is, working with at any culture, you just have to understand that there's going to be cultural conflicts, and you just have to support them. They have to have understanding. I think we had to get through that. But ultimately, I think that we had a really great collaboration. And I know that he's really eager to work in India more, and I look forward to working with him. I don't think you would have what you saw on screen if, not necessarily Petros, but kind of that outside of India lenses. Yeah. So. And
you also have Mani Sharma on music?
Yeah, on songs.
On songs?
Yeah.
How did you make that decision?
So Mani Sharma Garu, I think is, so as Rana Garu was saying, that I put a lot of references throughout the film about people and actors and, styles that made an impact on me as I was growing up from Telugu cinema, whether it's kind of redoing a scene or putting them in the background. So in a way, Mani Sharma Garu is kind of synonymous with the music of the late 90s and early and the 2000s. So it was just natural for him to do the songs. And specifically, I think we released a song today that I have this little bit of a soapbox about Telugu. So I really like the fact that I heard yesterday that Rana Garu tells all of his staff that he has to speak Telugu, which I was like, really? Because my dad, was on my butt about speaking Telugu, sending me here for 3 months every year to learn Telugu. And then I come here as an adult, and I'm so sorry, but the young people are not very good with Telugu. It's so annoying, and we're just so lucky. One of the team members found a mistake last week, and I was gonna, this is just something I can't seem to overcome, or regardless of how many times I can't check. So I am really making a plea to whoever is the Minister of Education. Please, let's bring back Telugu and insist or do Telugu exams before people go out into the world. So the Ranganaiki is based on it was actually one of the ideas from the original writer, based on a Telugu literary genre of riddle, kind of like a quirky, cheeky riddle poem. And it's based off of that. So we're letting it circulate into the audience right now. Interestingly, like I tried to figure it out on my own, and I tried to have my team figure it out on their own, and trying to ask them, what does this word mean? Like there's an algorithm to it, kind of, it's like a codex, and there's a code to it. They couldn't figure it out. So we're going to decode it for the audience a little later in the week.
Nice.
So,
nice.
And then Varun did the background music, because once again, it was a matter of trying to get the right but unique sound to emphasize what was happening in the scene. So I think you're right. It's all about still staying very true to Telugu. I only want to make Telugu films. Otherwise, I'll make films in New York, because these are the two cultures I know very well. But I do think that in order to get to the global stage, we do have to make them global films in terms of the filmmaking. But I was saying, like, I'm not going to recut a Telugu film, like my Telugu film, for the film festival. I'm going to make it the way it is, and it's going to go to the film festival, and it'll, it has to represent me, this environment and this culture. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the humor and the high emotion and all of it has to be there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's very common for film festivals to accept like very like gory action films from the Far East, because that's their genre that they have decided is acceptable for film festivals. I don't know if we submitted if we submitted Kill, do you think it'll get into the film festival? I don't know. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know what this is, but we'll have to figure it out. I don't know. I'm just learning. This is just my third film. But,
See, frustration, your third film like this.
Yeah. But
we're living through that for a while now.
Yes, exactly. But RRR already has gotten to the global stage. Baahubali was a trendsetter. In fact, Baahubali was the movie that gave me the courage to come to India.
Really?
Yes, it was. And I remember saying this to today, sir. I said, Baahubali showed that a Telugu film can go to the global box office. It was the number 2 highest grossing film, Baahubali Part 2, at the US global box office. And I was like, if there isn't someone in Hollywood paying attention to these numbers, then it's ridiculous. And then I came with the intention that I wanted a Telugu film to go to the film festivals, because up till then, you only saw certain languages from India represented. I'm not so keen on film festivals right now. I'm right now like so encouraged by the Telugu audience. I mean, no one is more surprised than me that Kate of Kancharapalem was loved by the general audience. And there was an audience there that made it successful, both commercially and financially. And so I'm kind of more excited about this. I'm more excited about bringing films like this to the general Telugu audience, because I see myself in them. So if I exist, they have to exist. So I believe that. So, I mean, I really don't care about the West at this point anymore. I'll leave that to you.
Rana, when you make a film like this, when you put X amount of money into a film like this, how do you measure success? Like, how will you measure success for, okay, I'm going to try and say it, Kothapallilo
Okappudu.
Okappudu.
Yeah. See, first, the good thing about this cinema is it's not very expensive in comparison to the larger commercial films in terms of scale, time, and others. Right. Here, it's about being slightly more strategic, finding unique ways to tell that this is the film that there is, because. So all of the yardsticks that you have for a regular, here you go, this is what the first weekend should do, second weekend should do, that kind of goes away with these.
Correct.
You can't take the same measures. it usually happens with first the film shouldn't lose money. Like that's the first step. And I think today with enough support from whether it's OTT, whether it's some rights that are being acquired now, there is some kind of stability if the film has some audience. It's important for us to win with the audience, whether it's the trailer, whether it's a screening early, all of those. If there's an audience for it and you can prove that in a theater, and then there is a ecosystem for it. And to me, this is about consistency. And as you make this a habit, there will be more and more people watching it. There will be a few that will really go out the box and create the magical numbers. But to me, I think my job here is to form a habit, saying this type of cinema is available and it will be here every month or every 3 months, whatever that timeline is, that I'm able to create a habit out of this. I think that's really where the direction for us is now.
I just want to add one thing though. I'm happy that Rana Garu said that the movie is not expensive, because I think there's like these two areas. Because they're not expensive, like this kind of budget range is where we can experiment.
Yeah.
However, they do find it really hard to find distributorship. So it's such an important job for a company like Spirit Media to exist. Because of the low investment, you take the risk, and once you get, as long as you don't lose money, I think it will keep that cinema alive and that experimentation alive. So I just wanted to add that little
Absolutely.
bit. So,
Listen, I said Rana patron saint.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope other distributors will have like this type of thought process, at least maybe a small slate, so
a
that
specialty division.
Exactly.
Just do like one a year.
Yeah.
Just try. Okay, I'm going to end with asking you both about our IMDb watch list. We're going to update the IMDb watch list with your favorites. Okay. So Rana, tell us what are Rana Dagubatti's 5 favorite films?
What are my 5 favorite films? Well, the top would be Star Wars always. It's episode 4. Nayagan would be a film that will be on my top list at all times to watch. Scarface is a film I like a lot. And I don't know why, but I keep watching it over and over again. Or it just happens to land up on TV every time I'm around. Gladiator is a film that I really enjoy. And that's a repeat watch of mine. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels is what I watch a lot. I think, this is my top 5.
Love it. Love it. Praveena, what are yours?
In terms of the movies, well, he already stole 3. So I can't. So Nayagan, Gladiator, Lock, Stock.
All 3 were yours in your list. That's crazy. Yeah, not bad.
Okay. Theirs. So I'll add a couple of additional, which is In the Mood for Love, absolutely. Jagadeka Veerudu Atiloka Sundari is my favorite. Shankarabharanam is another one. I think it's just universal. And that's 3. You already stole 3. The one that you did with Puri sir, Andala Rakshi.
Nenu Na Rakshasi.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's on your top list?
Yes,
Crazy.
Exactly. And then I recently saw a movie which is something that I saw, Anatomy of a Fall.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a beautiful movie.
Yeah. So I'm just amazed at the writing of that film and the acting in that film.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a film that engaging in a really long time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, thank you, and wishing you so much luck for this film.
Thank you.
And it was so lovely to hang out.
What
are these called again?
Pandirmancham.
Pandirmancham.
Yes.
All right, to hang on the Pandirmanchams with you both.
Yeah, even I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.